So today is August 7th, 2012. This is Roger.
They call me around here Uncle Toad.
This is Uncle Toad. Roger, Uncle Toad.
You know what? You know why?
No.
I called my sister too many times one day. The last time I called her, she said, "What do you want, you toad, you?" And her little daughter knew it was me. And she said, "Mom, is that Uncle Toad?" So it's on the back side of my tombstone.
So this is Roger Kerberick. Kerberick. And your birthday is?
27 December 1942.
And we are Becky Martin,
Ruby Latif, Johnny Page.
Your name is Hans.
Sitting in is Hans Holdeman.
and we are with the Quincy University.
And Hans Holdeman Eagle Project.
Oh.
And we are here at Illinois Veterans Home in the library, right?
I think this home was the only one designed for women to come here.
Oh, really?
It used to be in the American Legion magazine. It had a whole list of all the veterans' homes in the U.S. And they were all for men. Of course, they had one down in Washington, D.C. and other places for women who were veterans, even though they were never married. So just as long as they were veterans.
Do you work as a historian for the veterans home here? Because you seem to know a lot about here and.
I've been here
so
25 years.
Yeah.
And I'm a life member of the Hancock County, Illinois Historical
Well, that's
Society.
fine.
Oh, that.
That's fine. Not everyone is interested. Not everyone is
Coming
interested in
here,
that.
you mean?
Well, maybe not, but you're not as much interested in history as you are. You're very knowledgeable.
I still have a book that I found in an old dilapidated house. It was dated 1857.
The book was published or printed in 1857? When was this house?
Yeah.
What is it called? What's the title of the book?
Life and Legend of Dr. E.F. Lynn. He was a doctor who was captured by the Indians in this area, and he got away. I didn't read too much of that other part of the book. I got wrapped up in wrapping paper.
So if you'll tell us what war you served in and what branch you served in, that would be very helpful.
I served in the Vietnam War, and even though I came back 3 hours late from being on leave with my family, that was because I had tickets to come back. But when I reached St. Louis, the seats were all filled, so I had to wait for a standby. When I took the standby, there were 2 seats left, mine included. And we had land at Richmond, Virginia, and they took us from there. It was heavily raining. So they took us by a bus that was provided to the airline. And we got back to the ship's pier. There were 3 of us kids. I wasn't a kid. I joined the Navy at age 20. Anyway, they awarded me the they'd gone up to get some ammunition. Lordsworth Island. And since I missed the ship, that used to be a very, they'd get you in trouble. But I went to the Naval Operating Base, and they put me on a special project, which I completed very well. So when I came back to the ship, they awarded me the some campaign that I forget the name of the campaign, but they awarded me the medal, Expeditionary Medal, and I was given the ribbon because I did so well on the project.
Is that because of your accurate typing and your attention to detail that you were talking
Yes,
about?
I'm attentive to detail.
Yeah. Very rare.
My sisters and brother have often told me, quit telling so many details, become current, up to date. I said, I promise I'll never be a raisin again. I'll be a current that they put on.
Oh,
custard.
clever. Clever. Very good.
Okay.
Of course, I still prefer the old days.
Yeah. Well, what
I'm not too old for here because when I came here, the average age was 70. Now it's 85. And so many people they send here now, they immediately put them in Alzheimer's,
Oh dear.
or they die within 4 months. But I still like to meet new people and go around and talk about. They like to talk about anything, especially the old days. And some of the guys have told me over the years, I guess it's been at least a dozen, they'd tell me, Roger, I have nothing to live for. My wife has gone, the kids don't come see me, I have nothing here. I said, oh yes, you do have a reason for living. And they said, what's that? I said, you help these nurses' aides and employees and whoever take care of you and learn about, some of them agreed with that and some of them just continued to. Most of them agreed with that. Their lives, not their life.
That's genius.
When you said you enlisted at the age of 20, what led you to join the Navy? What were your reasons?
For Boyer, the shoe repairman, because he'd been in Norman.
And did you discuss that your decision with him? Did you talk to your uncle about it?
Well, my uncle went directly to his older sister, my mother.
So you said you're 7 siblings. You all joined Navy, or
There was an older boy that died at St. Mary's in 3 days because head nun, it was a Catholic hospital. Because the nurses, they weren't supposed to do that, but they'd take him out of his incubator. He's a very beautiful kid, black curly hair. And they didn't realize he could die. And the head nun came in there and she said, put that child back in his incubator. Well, it's too late. So there were 9 surviving. 4 girls. And the boy, including me. I'm still a boy.
Are there any more? Are you the only sibling remaining, or?
No, there are 9 of them, which
They're all still alive?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
and 7 of us went in the service. I was the first one.
So you have some sisters.
So the girls, some of the girls
Sisters
did.
too.
Some honorary, some not.
I forgot to ask you this, Roger. Do you have a middle name?
Gene. Gene. That stands for purity.
Okay.
I guess that's why they've invited me to work in the chaplain.
Oh.
And you told us your rank, but could you tell us your rank again?
Well, I retired in the Naval Reserve as I only had 16 years, 5 months, and 21 days. But since I worked undercover for the FBI, they didn't include it in my retirement papers. They just said that was federal service, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave me a commendation and said, you'll retire.
Mm-hmm.
I worked personally for the Deputy Chief of Naval Reserve.
Through the FBI or separate? Separately from the FBI or concurrently with the FBI when you were working for the FBI?
It was during my naval career.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do with the FBI when you worked for them? You can't talk about it?
Well, I can tell you about the first one. Don't tell anything.
Okay.
The two last ones are too classified. They probably already leaked it by now. But the first assignment was to test me out.
Mm-hmm.
And I infiltrated neo-Nazi cells in the Washington, D.C. area, in southern Virginia, and in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Since I stayed with my aunt, security clearances were no problem.
Mm-hmm.
One day I came up from the farm, and she said, Roger, there was a man from the FBI here asking about you. I said, yeah, I know, and walked into the other room. I didn't want to tell her I used her place as a permanent resident for my clearances. But she was good to me, and I was good to her. And we spoke German or English.
So you're bilingual?
Well, I know a couple words in Spanish. Are you Spanish?
No, I'm not.
Well, I know.
That will go over.
You know what caca means?
Yes.
Puerto Rican.
Okay,
I
she
took
knows.
Spanish. Be careful.
Oh,
Those are the words you learn first.
Yeah.
oh, great.
I'm us now.
Poor young.
Younger Kinder.
So why did you join Navy? Why not Marines or Army?
I told you my uncle was in Normandy.
In the
Okay,
Navy.
that influenced
Yeah.
you.
He told my mother, if these kids have nothing to do, can't go to college and stuff, have them part of the service.
Mm-hmm.
And since he was Navy, I respected him and I joined
Sure.
the Navy.
Now, did you grow up speaking German?
Well, I took it in high school,
Okay.
and I knew German when the newer High German, spoken by the professors and businessmen and stuff. That's what both the old High German language were. And the dialects were local. I mean, you know, different parts of Germany and like Luxembourg and stuff. And if I didn't speak with my aunt, I'd speak with other people.
Yeah. So did you use your ability to speak German in your military service at all? Did that any occasion arise for you to use that?
Well, there was one kid on my ship. I lived down in the engineering department with him. His name was Sharnik. And he had all these brand new books about Hitler and whatever. He let me see those.
Were they in German? Were they written in German?
No English.
In English, okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
So do you remember your boot camp?
Yes.
How was that?
I was 20 years old, but I had a lot to learn. And I was always picked on by the company commander because I would make mistakes. I think he made some for me. Like one time,
That's very kind.
there were 81 kids in my company. And I was in, the tail end, and we were marching, and I didn't have the flap button in my raincoat. So I had to go push the piece, the rifle, 16 count manual for 3 hours. And then I made another mistake. Towards graduation, why? He said, Kerberick, why didn't you buy a history of your company? I was in there. I said, sir, I don't want to remember you as you are in a book. I said, I want to remember as the way you really are. So I had to push the feed.
He didn't like that answer? Oh gosh. How long is boot camp? Or how
It
long
was
boot
9
camp?
weeks. Now it's 7 weeks and 2 days. Last time I checked. I keep myself up to date. I'm a life member of the Navy League of the United States of America.
There's some friends here in the Navy League in Springfield.
I say. My council there is 100. Remember?
Don't remember if that's what they're. Jay Kennerly is one of my friends who's in the Navy League.
No, I never.
He was in the Vietnam.
I never visited up there,
Springfield.
even though I was invited to retired admirals.
Nice. How was it to move from boot camp into actual active service? What was was there a big difference, or what was your experience in active service?
Well, like I told you, my first assignment was a naval amphibious base military, and I made a mistake. I was bumped on the bottom, and so was on the other side of the wardrobe was this Marine, and he looked muscled, but it was smooth muscles, like he had put on weight, an easy job. And I was an easy job for him. I always kept my money tight, you know. And he said, Kerberick. Yes. He said, I need $150. Well, they say that you were the proud in the Marines, so I gave him $150. He said, I'll pay you back. About a week later, he said, I need $150 more. I went to look for him. I didn't know that he was supposed to be transferred in 3 days. So I watched it after that.
A good lesson to learn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a lot to learn.
Wow.
Great. Did you develop any close friendships with people along the way, or who were
Friendship?
some of your friends? And,
Yeah. Like this Native American I told you about.
Right. Yes.
And the Commodore, even though he made mistakes, he would just put on his squawk box to the office. Say, Cricket, I need such and such. He called me Cricket because I was so fast on my feet that I chirped like a cricket.
Oh no.
So now you have multiple names, huh? Uncle Todd and
Yes.
I hope you enjoy my laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a great sense of humor. Yes.
Does he only speak Dutch?
We don't know him. We just only met him this
That's,
morning. Yes.
She doesn't speak any Dutch.
No Dutch
He
at
doesn't
all.
speak Dutch.
Just your name.
Yeah.
So you said boot camp was hard for you. Was there any special ways you got through it, or did you just like stick to it and just stood your ground when he tried to make you push the rifle?
Well, I survived the pushing the rifle, but I preferred to be cheap, so we got $78 a month. I brushed my teeth with soap instead of razor blades because I was too tight to buy razor blades. I tried that on my face too to shave, but I dried out my face, so I was nicking myself badly. And the company commander came in there one day. I had to get ready for a watch, and I was trying to shave. It was painful. He just calmly bent over and said, are you having trouble like a little boy? Yes, sir. He gave me a no shaving kit to excuse me from shaving for a while to heal up. I was in the serving line one day, passing out toast. And this kid came up and he said, "How do you get by with not shaving?" We don't. I told him and he didn't believe it.
This is a serious question. Did you lose any friends or loved ones in the war?
I have here no veterans,
Yeah.
many,
Sure.
and both women and men.
Yeah.
Actual veterans themselves, the women. I did make a mistake. Or not a mistake. We were in Vietnam. And before it really got started, this kid was a handsome looking kid like him. And he said, "I want to go to Vietnam." So I re-enlisted. And I heard 6 months later they were killed.
Sorry.
The kids I worked with, they miss me even though they're grown up, because I worked with a lot of kids.
Yeah.
On my own whenever I had spare time. Otherwise, during the week, I was really plowing through the paperwork late hours.
So what would you do? Where did you find just the children that were overseas? Or where did you find them? They were everywhere, or?
Mainly in Puerto Rico. And I was a warrant officer in the United States Naval Sea Cadet Corps Youth Program. And I was assigned or appointed senior escort officer and personnel officer. And I'd look up at the records to see fine kids that came from unwed mothers, or the mothers had problems or their dads. And I'd take like $600 with me down on the weekend. And I'd take those kids over and buy them shoes and then they'd exchange. And they appreciate it. They didn't have to thank me, you could tell by their eyes. And let's see, I worked with the Boy Scouts one time, but not too long, at Naval Reserve Center Hannibal. It was for sea explorers to learn them sailing and stuff. And Dr. Hugh McReynolds, remember him? He had a son that was my doctor later on. He donated the use of a small sailboat, and the other one wasn't real small, it wasn't medium either, it was in between. It had a sail on it and a small motor. I guess it was electric, I don't know what it was. But these guys that were in charge, all I could think of was the kids going on trips on a weekend and asking them for $31 for the trip. I acted as a counselor and I said, that's silly. I said, some of these kids can't afford that. I said, why don't we set up a program with the YMCA? They can learn swimming and all kinds of things. But they refused.
So this was in Hannibal?
I used to go up in the top to check for pigeons.
Too high for me. That'll be tough.
Were you able to help any of the children in Vietnam?
No, but I heard from many who did.
Okay, you said you were handing out toast, so we're going to lighten it up a little bit. How was the food in the Navy?
Fine for me.
Why do you say for you?
Well, for all of us who went into service, because there were 9 surviving kids.
Sure.
And after I got on my feet financially with the Navy, in boot camp, I would send my mother $70 every payday. And it cost us only 35 cents of that back then to buy a money order. And I had to start using the shaving cream, you know. So that cost me a little bit for shaving cream. And let's see what I use it all while I'd buy stamps.
Sure. Well, I know my dad talked about different nights that they'd have entertainment on the ships. Did you have special nights where you had entertainment or movies or, you know, spaghetti night? Or
On the first ship.
Yeah.
They had dispensers for like Coca-Cola, you know. There was only a nickel for a cup back then. They'd mix syrup with water, you know. And they had new movies. They'd test them with the military before they'd put them on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of them back then was a sword and a stone or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What other questions?
What did you do? What did you do after you got out of the Naval Reserve? What did you do then?
Well, both times after I got out of the regular Navy and after I got out after the reserve, I went to colleges. Robert Morris at Carthage and James City Business College here in Quincy. My mother aced everything. She said she could type 120 words a minute. I'd never heard of that. I've heard of 80 or 90. Anyway, she was very swift on paperwork. She could read 3 books a night before she went to sleep, and she could comprehend everything. I could comprehend, but not as fast.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they set her up with a job for Atomic Energy Commission. That was way back when. And she was scared to go. It was a bigger town than Quincy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Did you ever bring any USO shows, or did you get to see any celebrities? They ever come and entertain you when you were on the ships, or did you go to any shows that where they had entertainers?
well, I went to this one show in Spain.
Is that kind of like where you learn the Spanish word?
No.
Just thought I'd check before we record this.
She was a dancer, you know,
Well.
with long stockings, black, and did whatever these little giblets.
Castanets.
Sure.
She was a perfect.
Flamenco dancer.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Okay.
Of course, I wouldn't go there to look at her. I just wanted to hear the castanets.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Spain, huh? So how long were you in Spain? How long did you learn this language?
He only knows one word.
Well, you surely got to see some beautiful parts of the world. Did you have any favorite places, or where all did you?
Well, I went after I came here. They were remodeling the 2 cottages, and they set me up this huge guy in a wheelchair. He cussed and swore all the time. You didn't have to prompt him. And he and I were in a room over the entrance to camp. And I thought, to heck with this noise. So I took a trip to Germany and Bavaria, especially Bavaria, because my brother was in the Air Force. And I would go on the base with him that had been a camp for prisoners of war. And when the Germans felt they would never give up, you know, but they would retreat to a certain point, and then their onslaught would be worse the second time. And I thought Bavaria was pretty. I went up to Berchtesgaden, you know where Hitler. Of course, it was all bombed, and they had, I don't know how many stories inside of concrete. But people weren't allowed to go in there because concrete doesn't last over so many times.
Yeah.
They had a bank in there, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, I envy you. Do you keep any photographs of your military service? Did you take a lot of pictures?
I had one camera. I didn't know how to use a camera. It was a Kodak something or other.
Yeah.
And I only used the film that was in it. I didn't know how to reload it.
Sure.
Guess what I took pictures of? The heavy seas and stuff like.
Yeah.
But I did buy some photos from the ship's small service store, pictures of my ships,
Yeah.
and some of them sent to me, my buddy. I got salt water in it from taking pictures.
Did you keep any personal diary while you were on the ship?
No, my one sister said, you have a cast iron memory. You can remember things if you take a while with your Rolodex.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you remember things back to when you were age 2. I said, yes, that's right.
Wow. That's early. Yeah.
My other sister, she said, you have a good memory, excellent. But she said, I thought one side of your brain, we need to do some repairs on the other side.
True of us all.
Are they around here too? Your brothers and sisters? Do they live here in Quincy or?
Well, one was a beautician and retired. She now works at Madison School. She became head cook.
Oh.
She's a good cook. She married a former Marine.
Mm-hmm.
He still thinks he's a Marine, but she beats up on him.
Oh, wonderful.
And the rest are all scattered other places, or?
Well, one's in Gibson City now. You know where that is?
I do.
And one's in Mountain Home. It was her 4th marriage.
Oh, wow.
She was finding of a roundabout.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked my mother one time, when my mother was still able to drive, I said, is Sally a nymphomaniac like her first husband? She said, no. She said, Sally is not. She just likes sex like I do.
Well, now, we have to ask, did you have any romantic interests while you were...
For myself?
Sure, yeah.
No,
No?
not at all.
Never married or dated anyone?
I never went over with a woman. I
Yeah.
mean, we were told to travel in twos.
Yes, yes.
And I admired the history and stuff like that, like King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella.
Mm-hmm.
They had their old throne room. It was empty. You could see the brick walls, and there was no stage under the throne or anything. It was just dirt floor that had been heavily raked. And outside of that, they had a building, like I said, it had been rebuilt. I mean, it was shorter. They had long glass cases with bronze rims and stuff, and they had some very beautiful jewelry and all that kind of stuff.
Gosh, I'd love to see that. Now, you said that you had had a nervous breakdown. Is that when you came here?
No, I thought I could beat it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I held out for, let's see, when I came back from the nervous breakdown, since I was so cheap, I mailed off everything I could, or gave uniforms that I collected, gifts from the Navy Ceremonial Guard and everything. I mailed them to Caribbean Division, Sea Cadet Corps, or I sent them home to my mother or my great aunt. I put everything to use, you know. And this Master Chief Boatswain's I had worked with him over in Naval Reserve Center at Anacostia. He said, come stay with me for a while. He said, you only need to pay half of the rent a month. I beat him to it. I only stayed there like 2 weeks. And I think I wore my uniform, my dress uniform, and reported up to Arlington Mental Health Institute in Virginia. It wasn't too far for me to walk. I said, I have problems. I said, I'm hallucinating. I hear voices in the walls, and I see my friends walking in different uniforms. I knew I had a problem. So they said, do you have any money? And I lied. I said, no, just some change. I had $220 in my sock. So they said, who should we contact about that? I said, contact my oldest of my younger brothers. I said, he has money. So they did, and he sent down bus tickets, and I made it all the way to St. Louis. He picked me up because he lived close by there. I think it was Edwardsville.
Yeah.
He was very good at computers himself. I mean, the bus tickets only cost $66. I sent him $100 with my sister. He claimed that his wife had divorced him, and she had. What did he do? He made another mistake. He married another Catholic lady. And I said, don't you know she has a brother who's a lawyer?
Check these things out.
Am I too funny or am I weird?
You're wonderful. You're charming.
They say I help spread personality around the base.
Well, it sounds like you've done a lot for your fellow veterans here at the home. I really
Yes, I have, and
admire.
I continue to do.
Yeah, I really admire your compassion.
I had seizures. I had to go to Iowa City. And then I was trying to get myself well, but I couldn't. I went around. My aunt asked me to leave in July of '83. I came to stay with her for October of '70. She said, Roger, you're not even good company anymore. She said, you don't do anything around the house. I used to take her for drives in my Chrysler and all kinds of stuff. She told me one time, she said, Roger, I haven't been away from the house except for being out on the back porch for 41 days. So the following morning, I took her for a 200-mile trip over to Stephansville.
Well, there's an answer.
I was kind to her, but she was kind to me too.
Yeah, sure.
She ever since she was so frugal, I was at the veterans home, and she said, Roger, I'd like you to come back and stay with me. And it was costing me $102 for my drugs on the outside. And I didn't get my drugs very often. I said, well, my little sister who's in charge of me said I should ask for $40 or $50 a month from you to help with my meds. She said, your little sister can go straight up the chimney.
So much for that.
But she died painlessly from cancer in her breast. It spread throughout her body. And she had, after her breast was removed, she had lumps on her back.
Yeah.
And she never used Tylenol or an aspirin. She wouldn't go to the doctor. She thought it cost her something. She was Catholic. I didn't mind because I worked with all kinds of people.
Sure, sure.
Even Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons.
And what church did you attend, or were your family Lutherans, or?
Well, my mother belonged to St. Peter's Evangelical Church, I think it was downstate. And my father was Catholic. He had been an altar boy for 12 years at St. John's.
Okay.
The family that came from Luxembourg, they were Roman Catholic and German. What did you say? Ask me, I forgot to.
I was just asking which church you were raised in, which
Well,
church your children went to.
We didn't go often.
Yeah.
Myself and my sister begged my mother would she take me to church. And she did. but they had no pastor anymore. It was a big old Methodist church in Tioga, you know where that is.
I do.
And since they didn't have a pastor, they sprinkled water on their head, and they didn't say anything. And my sister and I, this lady, she had a organ in her house. She played very well. And we'd go over there and train to sing the old Rugged Cross. So we got up there one day and did a duet.
So you sing?
Well, some told me I had too high a voice.
Did you play the organ, or did you play any musical instruments?
I tried clarinet, but I couldn't get past
Yeah.
Twinkle Twinkle.
That's me too. That's me.
I was a Sunday school teacher at 2 Navy bases for 3rd and 4th graders. Once that little creek, the guy that was in charge was a full captain, but he had been burned severely around the chin and stuff. I don't know about the inside. So they allowed him to wear his whiskers long, you know, but trimmed. And that was unusual back in those days. But he was well retired, and he was in charge of the Sunday school down Little Creek. And we didn't have any problems at all, except this one kid. He was a 4th grader. I think he just liked this little girl that was in the 3rd or 4th grade. He first started out, he tried to cut her pigtails off. we had to take the scissors away. Then he tried to put glue in her hair.
Sure sign.
Anything else?
It's up to you. Anything you need to tell us? Any more you need to say, or that we forgot to ask you, or?
I always intended to be kind to the elderly, and I love the kids.
Sounds good to me.
Then we have something in common. Thank you so much for your time and
You're
your
welcome.
honesty and your sense of humor.
My sense of humor.
Oh, I could sit and listen to you all day.
It took me a long time to get that, you know.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah.